Good morning, it's Brian of Brian's Budget Bonsai, and happy Halloween. It is the 31st of October, about 7:20 in the morning. Got a lot of plans for today. I actually have the day off. I'm going to go visit my daughter in Tennessee. But before we do that, I'm going to finally get around to nuts, berries, and seeds, as I was saying, or berries, nuts, and seeds, one of the two. I am going to do some planting of various things that I've collected over the last couple weeks. Sometimes I know what I'm collecting, and sometimes I'm like, let's plant this and find out what it becomes. I have a vague idea what some of these are, and some of these we're just going to keep our fingers crossed and see what happens. I have already prepared, some basically a mixture of old bonsai soil, some perlite, some bagged potting mix. I decided to, rather than throw away that fine bonsai soil that turned into cement, rather than having that just be thrown away, I mixed it with all in there too, trying to basically kind of loosen up a little bit of the bagged potting soil, give it better drainage, but also give it a lot of hopefully that peaty potting mix will allow it to retain moisture, which of course is very important for the seed germination as well as the survival of those early saplings. I'm assuming that since most of these seeds were collected in the fall, that naturally they would want to have some sort of cold stratification. That's when the seeds won't germinate unless they are cold for a while, and then they emerge hopefully in the spring. Unlike seeds that will fall in the or become available in the spring, they'll if you get maples seeds, sometimes they'll they're available in the spring. Yeah, you plant them that spring, they're going to be seedlings within a few weeks. I'm thinking that any of these things that I'm finding now will need to be kept cold. So once I put these things in, they're just going outside. Now, on a positive note with the weather, we finally got rain. Actually, pretty much from rain from like Sunday evening all the way to like yesterday morning. Sometimes it was heavy, sometimes it was just a light drizzle, but kept everything really damp. And I did turn off my sprinkler system during that point, and which reminds me, I got to go turn it back on. So as soon as I stop this video, before I do anything else, I'm going to go turn my sprinkler system back on, because that's one of the mistakes I've made in the past. Stopping the sprinkler system when it's raining, forgetting to turn it back on when it stops raining. So I'm going to do that pretty soon. I'm just enjoying a little cup of coffee to get myself going. So let's get to it. Now it's planting time for seeds, nuts, and berries. Okay, what I decided to do was to start big. Black walnuts. I've got a fairly good amount of black walnuts that I collected actually from 2 walnut trees that were by my daughter's apartment complex up over in Tennessee. Hey, Sophie. Sophie's got to bark at something. But yeah, I've already kind of dehulled these and put them in some water, threw away the ones that floated. These are all the ones that sank, so hopefully these will go. Now, I believe walnuts, when they grow, they usually have a large taproot, and so I'm going to put these all in kind of like taller buckets so that they'll have a chance to grow longer taproots. And I'm hoping also to minimize the amount of escape roots through the bottom of my pots. Now, I have tried something a little different today with my all these trees today, and I don't know if I can get this to the point where you can see that. Rather than putting screening at the bottom of these for prevent drainage, I put paper towels. I saw that in a suggestion in one of the other creators' videos, where you're having the seedlings that, when they grow and they put out their roots, they want to grow down, and they hit the mesh, and they really get the roots get kind of embedded in the screening or meshes that we're using at the bottom of these. And then when you go to replant them, you end up cutting away a lot of the roots because you can't get them freed from the mesh. So what the suggestion was use paper towel for these seedlings, and the paper towel eventually breaks down and disappears, but by the time it does that, hopefully the roots of the seedling have established enough that it holds the soil in place, and you don't have to worry about the soil eroding away. So this is going to be pretty simple. I'm just going to take these old nursery pots that I've gathered, and we're just going to put one nut in each one of them, and then throw a little soil on top of them, and then they're all going to go into the garden. So it's going to be very simple, and just going to put it in there and top it off with a little more of the soil mix, like so. Just enough to give it a couple inches of coverage there, and that is good to go for hopefully giving us some good doink doink. Yeah, this is fairly simple, and what I'm probably going to do is cut the camera or put it on time lapse maybe, and we'll just do the rest of these. I was going to thinking about just putting these directly seeding them directly into the ground, but one of the things that I found again with the tap roots is that when you go to dig them up, they've put these tap roots way down into the ground, and then trying to get them out, you invariably damage the taproot, and then that seriously will impair the seedling's ability to survive that process. But we're going to hopefully see that putting these pots, and I'm going to just set them down on the ground, so hopefully we won't have too much in the way of escape roots. Once it starts growing, I'll probably check them on a regular basis just to make sure that they're not getting escape roots. If you can't lift the pot, there's a chance that the roots have held it down. All right, so we're going to do the rest of these in a quick little time lapse. Okay, I still have some nuts left over, even though I've planted 11 of these. I still have, I have at least 12 more. I might try these in kind of like more of a mass planting. I don't know if I have any more buckets. I'm going to look around and see what I got. Okay, I did find a few other things. These, I believe, are pots that are meant for orchids, which I did line with some paper towels, and hopefully that'll work. I'm just going to put, this one's a little wider and flatter, so I'm going to try just putting like 4 in there and see what happens. I got enough to experiment with, so I still have more than I need, but we'll see which ones give us the best results. When you take this approach, you can just kind of like, well, try a little something different, see what happens. This is going to be my first time attempting to grow a black walnut from seed. So we're going to try a whole bunch. Just keep on adding that. Those ones need a little more soil. They're barely covered. A little more on top there. Okay. So, still have 6 more walnuts, but I think that's all we're going to do with the walnuts. We're going to try to move on to our next. Okay, next. This is going to be for like a mass planting of a whole bunch of different, a whole bunch of seedlings all at once. I am going to try to stick to having, one species for each one of these best I can. And I believe these are seeds from an ash tree. And I'm already dropping them all over the place. So I am just going to basically kind of like randomly just sprinkle them into here, just like they would as if they had fallen from the tree. And I'm going to cover them up with some soil. And sometimes, I've done this before with maple seedlings, where I haven't been like, oh, we're going to give each maple seedling, the ideal situation and plant each one individually. It's like, no, we're just going to throw them all in a big container. And again, again, using paper towels as the drainage screen. I have put some holes at the bottom of this in the corners because this is actually a high point and these are low points. So hopefully that'll allow not only drainage from the sides, but drainage from the bottoms. But let's make sure they're all covered. There we go. And again, even if we get like a quarter of these to germinate, that's still plenty of ash trees. All right. So, it's going to be my first time trying ash. We'll see how that goes. These are some maple seedlings. I think there's a few acorns in here too, but these are some maple seedlings from a tree that was in my neighborhood that was dropping its seeds now. Yeah, there's a few acorns in there. We'll get those out. I'm not exactly sure what variety it is. It was an attractive tree, but it's one of the maples that drop their seeds in the fall rather than in the spring. So we're going to just sprinkle these into this, kind of get them evenly distributed, get some of those little acorns out. And just kind of spread them out the best you can. Again, I'm just kind of throwing them in there randomly right now. And I'm going to cover up with a layer of soil. Next, I think for these two, I'm going to try some of some plums. Now, here, and this right here, are some plum pits from, I can see, that's black on black here. These are some plum pits, these are some plum pits from just plums that I bought at the store and ate. So we're going to try to see if whether or not we can grow plums from these. Again, these were soaked in water, and the ones that floated got tossed. The ones that did not, and they sank, we kept. And these a little easier to plant symmetrically. So 6 in that one. Now, right here, around here. Oop, I have a few more of those maple seeds that escaped. We'll go throw those back in the maple section there. Oh, and before I get too far ahead of myself, I promised myself I'd try to be a little more organized. So I'm going to make some labels and label these things as I go. So these are plum store-bought. So just plum store. Otherwise, I won't know which ones are which. And go back a little bit here. We're going to have ash. Maple. That was supposed to be a question mark. We don't know what type of maple. But, yeah. What I have here, I'm not exactly sure if this is what they are. I think that these might be like a wild plum. I found these along the side of a road. They were both a combination of these ones, these fruits right here, as well as some of their pits where the fruits had already decayed away. So I am going to just take these and just put them in here. I'm going to put some of them, going to leave them in their fruits and see if whether or not that makes them germinate better. Having that little extra nutrients around them. 6 of those. And then 6 of the ones that are just the pits. Ah, it's the pits. All right, so actually I might as well just use all the pits. I didn't. There we go. Just throw those in there. Tried to escape into the to the domesticated ones. So I'm thinking that these are wild plums. They sure look like old. They looks like plums turning into prunes. But when I looked up what wild plums looked like, they look a lot like those. So we're gonna go plum wild on this one. Plum wild. Okay, take these away. Okay, I think the next one we're going to do are the acorns. You know, I didn't float these. Let me see. Oh, there we go. I got a little thing of water in here. And let's see if any of these are actually good. These are just, these are not, a lot of them are good. Let's throw them all in there and see what sinks and what floats. These are acorns that I most likely just picked up off the ground. And I can see there was already little holes in a lot of them, so they probably have already been you know, invaded by little bugs. See, most of those, most of these floated. So I'm going to just chalk that up for, you know, that's what you get when you get your acorns off the ground, is that chances are the bugs got to them before you did. But so I'm going to just scoop these away, and these are garbage. But I have 5 in here that sank. So those are going to be the 5 that I plant. And oaks also have large tap roots. I have those smaller acorns. I have a few of those. Let's see if those float. Yeah, every one of them. All right. So we're going to spread these out a little more because these are the only acorns that I think I managed to collect that are viable. So we're going to give them a little bit more leg room. Cover them up. And not really sure what variety of oak this is. Again, when you just find acorns, there's a lot of oaks, different varieties of oaks in the area, and I don't necessarily recall what the shape of the leaves were, whether or not this is a of the white oak or red oak variety. But except for those small ones, actually, I believe I did see the leaf shape on the smaller ones, and it was kind of a unique shape. So I was kind of disappointed that I didn't get any acorns that were viable from that small batch there. These are actually the pods of redbud. Picked these actually just yesterday from a redbud that was in a parking lot of a grocery store, and they're still in their pods, so I'm probably just going to break them up, just put them into here. Yeah, let's see if this concept works or not. Oh yeah, that's a lot easier to see them. I don't know whether or not these are the eastern redbud, which is native to the area. There's also, I believe, is it the Tennessee redbud? That's also popular as an ornamental in there. It has a little bit deeper color to its blossoms in the spring. But, I don't particularly remember what this one's looked like. I have declared I have enough of these. I had extra pods, but quite frankly, yeah, this is more than enough. So I'm going to just sprinkle them kind of randomly into this one. Let's see, we might be able to be more efficient about this here. Let's try to use this as a little bit of a scoop. There we go. Shaky, 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 shaky. And there. Just a little bit of soil to top them off, keep them buried. And label these redbuds. Redbud. Twink. Okay. I believe I have just one more. And these I also picked recently. These are the berries of, I believe, a pyracantha. There's a bush along our walking trail in the neighborhood that have pyracantha in there. And I've got 2 more containers. Again, these kind of like these, I guess, are probably a fair estimate there of a pound basket, but they are just basically, cheap little mesh bags, mesh things. So I'm going to sprinkle a few into each one of these And again, not going to try to get seeds out. I'm just going to try to see if whether or not just having them in their fruit. And, you know, sometimes the fermentation of the fruit itself is what helps kind of like activate the seeds. Sometimes they have to pass through the gut of a bird. So that I'm not going to be able to replicate. I'm going to throw them in a little dirt and keep our fingers crossed, because maybe these are working, maybe these won't. Okay, so bringing it on up. All right, that's seeds, berries, nuts. Hopefully setting up some interesting plants for the future. I'm going to call it a day today. Gonna just put these out in the garden, lay them out there, let them just kind of get rained on, and we'll just see what happens. Maybe sometime spring, summer of next year, we'll find out if any of these were successful. All right. In the meantime, y'all have a good day. Happy Halloween once more time. Stay cool and happy bonsai.